Statistics is the practice or science of collecting and analyzing data in large quantities, especially numerical data relating to sampling and inference. But what does that really mean? Everything, of course. Stats is a way of looking at the world through impartial eyes. It allows you to discover the ultimate truths of the universe. Well, maybe not that, but it lets you analyze nearly anything you want. How can you tell if dice are rigged? How many licks does it take, on average, to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? What's the easiest way to cheat at cards? Are red cars really more likely to get pulled over by cops? These and so many more questions can be answered with the right data and the skills you learn in stats.
Here are some myths about statistics. Number 1, it's easier than calculus. This is a very popular myth about stats, especially here at Greystone. Not wanting to learn the difficult concepts involved with calculus, people sign up for stats thinking it will be a breeze. But don't be fooled. The concepts of stats are just as difficult to grasp for many, and it requires just as much, if not more, work. Number 2, no math is involved. Some of you must think that stats has no math, right? I mean, there are graphs, pretty colors, and tons of words, but there's no math. You are very deeply, incredibly wrong, my friend. The calculations required to prove your conclusion in stats are complex and involved, and require basic math, complicated formulas, and advanced calculator functions to figure out. Number 3, it's just probability. No. Just no. Stats is so much more than probability. In fact, probability is only about 25% of the course and the AP exam. The rest of the videos will introduce you to some of the many things you will be learning in stats. Number 4, any answer is right as long as you can support it. To an extent, supporting your answer is the most vital part of stats. However, your conclusion must be right in the terms of the problem. You can't incorrectly conclude HA in a hypothesis test, calculate the wrong combined probability, or claim a histogram is symmetric when it's really skewed. Common sense is just as important in stats as being able to support an answer. Number 5, there is no writing involved. I don't think you realize just how wrong you are. Stats is, in the words of Rebecca Brickner, the unwanted love child of English and mathematics. Both are absolutely vital for this class. I have problems on homework or practice sheets that literally take up an entire sheet of notebook paper, and writing will only get more important the farther you get in the class. Explaining conclusions and describing data are unavoidable in stats.
Advice for AP Stats students. For those of you taking this class, you may want to think about the AP exam. It is in early May and costs approximately $89. If you take it, then you need to buy an AP study book. I recommend either Barron's or Cliff Notes. Only take the exam if you can pass it, your college takes it, or you can get the score required by your college. The grades in Stroud's AP Stats class are directly associated with the AP scores. Some other stats advice is to complete all your homework, don't wait until the class before to start studying, go to Stroud if you're having problems with the topic, use common sense, develop essay writing abilities, do practice problems, and also the summer assignment is extremely important.
Okay. So Jenny, which is easier, stats or calculus?
Stats.
Why?
There's not as much like real math. I don't know.
Okay.
More words, I guess. Pretty much. I don't know.
Okay.
Yes.
What do you think stats entails?
Graphs. A bunch of graphs.
Okay.
That's about it.
Okay, Taylor. This is Taylor Hopkins, and she's a senior, and she took both stats and calculus. And which class did you think was easier?
I think that stats was easier just because calculus is really complicated equations and stats is more of writing.
Okay. What helped you the most in stats?
I would say the formula sheet that she gave us because we had so many things that we had to know, but with that sheet, like you just sort it out and then you knew which one was the problem.
Did you have difficulties in stats?
Yes, at the beginning of the year, I found it really difficult, and when probability came along, it was really difficult, but after that, it was pretty easy.
How'd you fix that problem you had?
I went to Stroud and asked for help, and then I just kept working out the problems until I finally got them.
All right, so this is Sam Ladder, and she's a senior, and she just took stats this year. So what helped you the most in stats?
Actually, working out a few more problems in the book helped a lot. Depending on what the actual lesson was, the books actually helped for me.
Did you have difficulties in stats?
I did, especially in probability. That was probably the worst difficult part for me.
How'd you fix it?
By asking Miss Stroud as well, she intended to help me a lot.
So Ms. Dassler, what do you think about statistics?
I think statistics is one of the most important courses that you could possibly take in high school, especially if you're going on to college, because every single college major requires you to take a statistics course of some type. So if you take it in high school, and even if you don't take the and pass the AP test, you still have that experience and background because it's a course that students notoriously struggle with in college. So I think statistics is a very important course for high school students.
Thank you. Okay. Are you going to teach us everything that the summer assignments were about?
I'm not planning on teaching you everything that it's about because these are things that were you should have learned when you're studying for the SAT, when you're in Algebra 2, when you're in Geometry. These are things that you should know already ahead of time. So I think the summer assignment is just a review. When we get into class, I'll definitely make sure that these topics are taken care of, but I will not be spending class time teaching this material.
What is expected of your stats students?
I have very high expectations for my stats students. I definitely think if they're going to take AP stats that they should be able to take the final exam, the AP exam. So that's my highest expectation for them. And not only to take the exam, but to succeed in that exam and get college credit. So as far as reaching that goal, I expect them to do what I ask, to listen in class, to do their homework. That's the biggest thing. Do their homework, to ask questions, and to really understand what stats is about. Okay, that's the biggest expectation I have for them. So if they do that, it should be good.